Your story is not over. No matter what your circumstances look like right now, God is working on a new chapter for you. Sometimes it feels like we're stuck in the same place, that things will never change. But that's not how God works. He specializes in transformation, in making something new out of what feels impossible. Today, know that God is about to change your story. That pain, that struggle, that fear. It's not the end. It's the setup for something far greater. So hold on, because your breakthrough is coming, and it's going to be bigger than you can imagine. God is about to change your story in ways that will leave you in awe. You may feel like you've been wandering through a wilderness, waiting and wondering when things will get better. But I want to remind you that God knows exactly where you are. He knows your struggle, your pain, and your prayers. Just because it feels like nothing is happening doesn't mean that God isn't working. He is shifting things behind the scenes, aligning your life for His purpose. And when He steps in, everything changes. In every story of transformation, there is a moment of waiting, a moment when it seems like all is lost. Think about the great stories of the Bible: Joseph, Job, Ruth, and even the disciples. They all faced moments when their circumstances seemed bleak, but then God stepped in and their lives were transformed beyond anything they could have imagined. God is about to rewrite your story in a way that will bring you closer to Him and reveal His power in your life. You might feel overwhelmed by the weight of your current situation. Maybe it's a financial burden, a broken relationship, a health issue, or just the overall pressure of life. But here's the thing. The very things that feel like they are breaking you are actually the building blocks of the breakthrough God is preparing for you. God sees what you are going through, and He promises to turn it around for your good. The storms you're facing today are the preparation for the victory that's on the horizon. God is not a God of small changes. He is a God of radical transformation. When He changes your story, it's not just a small edit. It's a complete rewrite. What the enemy meant for harm, God is about to turn around for your good. Those nights of crying, of feeling lost and alone, are leading to a moment where God will step in and bring peace, healing, and restoration. You're not forgotten. You're being prepared. Sometimes the hardest part is believing that change is coming when everything looks the same. It's easy to get discouraged when you don't see the results immediately. But faith is about trusting God even when you can't see the way forward. Just because it hasn't happened yet doesn't mean it won't. God's timing is perfect, and when He moves, it will be at the exact moment that will bring Him the most glory and you the most growth. In the stillness, God is working. You may feel like you're stuck in the waiting room of life, but God is moving behind the scenes. He is lining up the right people, the right opportunities, and the right timing to change your story. It might feel like it's taking forever, but God is never late. He will arrive exactly when He needs to, and His plan will be far better than anything you could have orchestrated on your own. Trusting God with your story means letting go of your need to control the outcome. We often think we know the best way for our lives to unfold, but God's ways are higher than ours. When we try to force things into place, we can end up delaying the very blessings God wants to give us. Instead, let go and trust that He knows the perfect way to turn your situation around. Surrender your story to Him and watch Him do what only He can do. God's plan for your life is greater than you can imagine. It's easy to get caught up in the disappointments of today and lose sight of the promise that God has for your tomorrow. But remember, the story isn't over yet. Where you are now is just a chapter. It's not the final word. God is working behind the scenes, aligning everything for your good. Just because you can't see the whole picture doesn't mean God isn't creating a masterpiece. He is about to change your story in ways that will take you from where you are to where He has always intended you to be. When God changes your story, it's always for His glory and your growth. Sometimes the hardest seasons of your life are the ones that prepare you for the biggest breakthroughs. You might not understand why certain things are happening right now, but trust that God is using even your pain for a purpose. What feels like a setback is actually a setup for something far greater. God's rewriting your story, and when He's done, you'll see that every trial, every tear, and every moment of confusion had a divine purpose. God's timing is perfect, and His promises never fail. You may have been praying for a long time, waiting for God to step in and change your situation. You might even feel like He's forgotten you, but I assure you, He hasn't. God hears every prayer, and He sees every moment of your struggle. His silence is not absence. He is about to move in your life, and when He does, it will be in ways that surpass your expectations. What you've been waiting for is on the way. Don't lose hope now. Faith is trusting God's plan, even when you don't understand it. The journey may not make sense to you right now, but you don't need to have all the answers. God does. Your faith is the key that will unlock the door to the transformation God has planned for you. Keep believing, keep praying, and keep trusting, even when it feels hard. God is working all things together for your good, and He is about to change your story in ways you never thought possible. God is about to turn your pain into purpose. The struggles you faced, the heartaches, and the setbacks, they're not wasted. God is using every bit of your journey to prepare you for the next chapter. When He changes your story, those painful moments will serve as a testimony to His goodness and faithfulness. Your story will be a light to others, showing them that God is a God who can take brokenness and turn it into beauty. He is about to turn your sorrow into joy and your mourning into dancing. When God changes your story, no one can stop it. There may be people or circumstances that have tried to hold you back, but when God steps in, nothing can stand in His way. He is the author of your life, and no one can rewrite the chapters He's already written for you. What God has ordained for your life will come to pass. His plans for you are good, and no opposition can stop what He has in store. Prepare yourself, because the next chapter of your life is about to be one filled with blessings, breakthrough, and divine favor. In every trial, God is refining you for what's ahead. Just as gold is purified through fire, your faith and character are being refined through the challenges you face. It's in these moments that God is preparing you for the next level of your journey. The process may be uncomfortable, but the outcome will be worth it. When God changes your story, it's not just about the circumstances around you, it's also about the transformation within you. He's making you stronger, more resilient, and more prepared for the blessings He's about to pour into your life. God's grace is sufficient for every season you face. Sometimes we feel unworthy of the changes God is bringing into our lives. We think about our past mistakes, our shortcomings, and wonder if God can truly turn things around for us. But here's the beautiful truth. God's grace covers it all. He doesn't base His love or His blessings on our performance. He blesses us because of His goodness. You don't have to be perfect for God to change your story. You just need to surrender and let Him lead. When God changes your story, it won't just bless you. It will bless those around you. Your testimony of God's faithfulness will encourage others who are going through their own struggles. The way God steps into your situation and transforms it will serve as a beacon of hope to others. Your story of transformation will be a reminder that God is still in the business of performing miracles. He is still listening to prayers, and He is still turning impossible situations around. When God changes your story, He does it in a way that brings Him glory and blesses others. God's power is unlimited, and He can do more than you can ask or imagine. You may have small expectations for what God can do, but He is able to exceed them beyond your wildest dreams. What you're praying for is just the beginning of what He wants to do in your life. He's about to show you that His ways are higher, His power is greater, and His love for you is deeper than you can ever comprehend. God is not just going to change your story. He's going to do it in a way that leaves no doubt that His hand is on your life. God's ability to change your story is rooted in His perfect will for your life. When God steps in, He doesn't just fix the surface. He transforms everything from the inside out. You may have plans for your life, but God's plans are always greater. He sees the bigger picture and knows the path that leads to true fulfillment. When He changes your story, it's a complete transformation, one that will fill your life with purpose, peace, and joy. Don't limit what God can do by holding on to your own plans. Trust in His perfect will. Trusting in God's timing is key to experiencing His breakthroughs. Often, we grow impatient waiting for our situations to change. We want quick fixes and instant results. But God operates on a divine timetable, one that always brings about the best outcome for us. Delays are not denials. God's timing is perfect, and He knows exactly when to bring the breakthrough. It may seem like nothing is happening right now, but God is working behind the scenes, preparing everything for the right moment to unfold. Keep trusting, because your breakthrough is closer than you think. When God changes your story, it often requires a step of faith. You may be at a crossroads where God is asking you to step out of your comfort zone and into the unknown. It's scary, but faith is what activates God's power in your life. Sometimes the shift in your story requires you to let go of what's familiar and embrace the new things God has in store. You may not see the full path, but God is asking you to trust Him with every step. Take that leap of faith, and you'll see how God turns things around in ways you couldn't have imagined. God's promises are unshakable, and He is faithful to fulfill them. Even when circumstances look bleak, you can stand firm on the promises of God. He has promised to never leave you or forsake you, and He has promised to work all things together for your good. Those promises are as true today as they've ever been. When God changes your story, it's always in alignment with His promises. Hold on to them, even in the hardest moments, because God's word will never return void. He will do what He said He will do. Your prayer life is the key to unlocking the change you seek. Prayer is your direct line of communication with God, and it's through prayer that you align your heart with His will. When you pray, you invite God into your situation and give Him permission to move. You may have been praying for a long time, but don't stop now. God hears every word, and your prayers are powerful. They are the catalyst for the change that's about to take place. Keep praying, keep believing, and watch as God turns your story around. The process of change may not always be comfortable, but it's necessary for growth. Sometimes before God can change your story, He needs to refine you. He needs to refine you. This process might involve challenges, hardships, or even letting go of things that are holding you back. But every trial is part of God's plan to mold you into who you need to be for the next chapter of your life. Embrace the process, even when it's tough, knowing that God is preparing you for something greater. When the change comes, you'll see how every difficulty played a part in your transformation. God is the ultimate author of your life, and He's writing a beautiful story. You may not understand every twist and turn, but God knows the end from the beginning. He is writing your story with purpose, and nothing is wasted. Every chapter, every page is part of a greater narrative that glorifies Him. When God changes your story, it's not just for your benefit, it's to showcase His power and grace. Trust Him with the pen of your life, knowing that He is the master storyteller who always brings about the best possible ending. Let go of fear and trust in God's ability to change your circumstances. Fear has a way of paralyzing us and keeping us from stepping into the fullness of what God has for us. But fear is not from God. He has given you a spirit of power, love, and a sound mind. When God changes your story, fear has no place in your heart. Trust that God is bigger than any obstacle you face and that His love for you will carry you through any challenge. Release the fear and embrace the faith that God is about to do something amazing in your life. Your story is about to become a testimony of God's goodness. When God changes your story, it becomes a beacon of hope for others who are struggling. Your breakthrough will inspire others to keep believing, to keep praying, and to keep trusting in God's power. Your life will be a testament to the fact that God is still in the business of miracles. Don't be surprised when others look to you for encouragement, because God is using your story to shine a light on His greatness. You are a living, breathing example of what God can do. The change that God is about to bring will exceed your expectations. You may have a certain idea of what you want God to do, but His plans for you are far greater than you can imagine. He is able to do exceedingly, abundantly, above all that you could ask or think. When He changes your story, it will be in ways that surpass your wildest dreams. Stay expectant, because God is about to blow your mind with the blessings and breakthroughs that are coming your way. Trust in His timing and get ready for the miraculous. As you journey through life, there will be moments when it feels like the weight of the world is on your shoulders. But never forget that God is in control. He hears every prayer you whisper, even the ones you can't express in words. When you trust in Him, you're placing your life in the hands of the one who can do the impossible. God is not just listening, He's actively working to turn your situation around. Do not be afraid, because the same God who has been faithful in the past will be faithful again. He's about to change your story in ways you never thought possible. Keep believing, keep praying, and watch as His power unfolds in your life. Thank you for watching this video, and I pray that it has touched your heart and reminded you of God's incredible love and power. If this message encouraged you, be sure to share it with others who may need to hear it. Remember, God is listening to your prayers, and He's about to do something amazing in your life. Stay strong in your faith and don't let fear hold you back. Keep trusting in the Lord and let Him guide your steps. Make sure to subscribe for more inspirational content, and until next time, stay blessed and keep seeking God's presence in all that you do.